Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, regional expert says Dominica is falling behind in enacting child protection laws, while a consultant says the country's children are under threat. The Ministry of Agriculture sets a target of 12 million eggs annually as part of efforts to revive the poultry and livestock sectors, and a $35,000 tool library could be the answer for many local entrepreneurs. The details coming up.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evil.
Red cheese, gold rings, all black, everything creeping through the night.
Anywhere you are.
Big girls don't scream hard like Halloween, make me feel alive.
There's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evil.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow. First up in the news, Dominica looking to produce 12 million eggs annually as the country seeks to bring back the poultry and livestock sectors. Before Hurricane Maria, Dominica was producing 5 million eggs on an annual basis from 40,000 layers. The storm decimated that subsector, leaving the country with 5,000 layers, causing Dominica to import eggs for the first time in 40 years. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Fisheries, Dr. Reginald Thomas, says several thousand layers have been imported to boost the country's egg production in preparation for the numerous hotel development projects.
We have imported 59,000 layers, which is almost 20,000 birds, more than Maria, the pre-Maria quantity. And we expect some 12 million eggs to be produced. Now, some may argue, what are we going to do with so many eggs? But remember, we have these establishments coming in. They will require a substantial amount of eggs. So we will work with these farmers to try to get them to go into that sector. As
regards the production of chicken for consumption, Thomas says the country is back to 83% of its pre-Maria level.
We had about 59,000 broilers imported, which yielded about 232,000 pounds of meat. Currently, we have about 41 farmers in production. We imported just about 50,000 broilers. So we are about 83% in terms of our pre-Maria quantities. We continue to work with some of our partners like Samaritan Spurs, and the government of Dominica itself is investing significantly in trying to get the sector back and running.
Pork production is also rebounding.
We have at present some 241 producing females, which is in contrast to 381 pre-Maria. So we are about 63% of where we were. Where we are now is 63% in terms of, in comparison to 2017 before Maria.
A regional expert trainer in child protection and juvenile justice says Dominica is falling behind in terms of enacting child protection legislation. Attorney-at-Law Jacqueline Seeley-Burke is in Dominica this week facilitating a 3-day training exercise on child protection supported by UNESCO. She says while Dominica ought to be commended for moving closer to passage of the OECS model bills, she is looking forward to them actually being passed into law.
Dominica, if I am frank, is behind with that reform agenda. St. Lucia has since passed theirs, other countries have passed theirs, so I am encouraged that we're moving closer and closer, and so I heard Mr. Anthony's remarks, but I really and truly hope that the next time I come to Dominica that we're no longer talking about bills, that we're talking about acts that have been passed in Parliament. The good thing is that when Dominica does pass the legislation, that steps have already been taken to ensure that stakeholders have some knowledge and some understanding of the laws and how they're intended to operate. Dominica has already received training on the Child Justice Bill. So even though the Child Justice Bill hasn't been passed, a few years ago, I came in to do that Child Justice training. And now this week, we will be facilitating increased awareness of the child protection legislation.
She says a lot more training in the OECS has been happening in the area of juvenile justice as opposed to child protection.
And that's largely, I think, because of the OECS Juvenile Justice Reform Project. The JJRP project has sponsored a lot of training, so their focus has been on juvenile justice. However, given the inextricable link between these two areas of child justice, which Mr. Anthony already mentioned, it is critical that stakeholders have a firm handle on both areas of practice, both juvenile justice and child protection.
Burke says it's anticipated that training and capacity building will be ongoing. In other news, International Vice President of JCI is hoping to see a better partnership between the Dominica branch and stakeholders to effect positive change in society. Andrea Louis has a report.
Alejandra Castillo is on a 3-day stopover in Dominica as part of her visit of Junior Chamber International JCI West Indies, where she'll be making stops in 2 other Caribbean countries. Speaking to Channel 5 News during her trip, Castillo says JCI is undergoing a transformation to keep up with the digital era, and collaboration with stakeholders is key in getting impactful projects off the ground.
We are also transforming our procedures, our projects, and we are trying to make easy the way that the young people is going to make an impact in the communities. So we have a methodology called the Active Citizen Framework, and we're going to have in a minute a workshop of Active Citizen and also a course of effective leadership. So now we need our young people prepared. So the new process of JCI is just to be in contact with the community, try to have partners also in the 3 sectors of society, like government sector, free enterprise sector, and also civil society to join us doing a sustainable project or solutions in the community of Dominica.
Castillo says during her visit here, JCI Dominica will examine challenges facing society and analyze the best ways in which to address them.
I'm sure that after the workshop, after these 2 or 3 days that I will be sharing with them, we could, as a JCI International, empower our people in Dominica to take action in these challenges. But as I told you, the best way to do for us is analyze the root causes and just try to eliminate the effects one by one, not really to come here with a solution or an idea when I say I will change the world, I will do this. We used to take the time to analyze the root causes and try to act there.
President of JCI Dominica, James Rodney, says Castillo's visit is significant, especially as it is the first time an IVP has visited the country in the organization's 60-year history.
After that visit, the hope and the goal, the objective of it all is that the members themselves, because it really has to start with us, the members, for us to be able to have a renewed focus, a renewed sense of purpose, and have a passion and to own JCI Dominica, so that when we go out and we speak to others, that we can speak with conviction, we can speak from a motivational standpoint as well as an inspirational standpoint to other persons who may want to join the organization, to be part of a family, that will be able to go out and help others who are less fortunate, to inspire someone else, to motivate someone else, to create that positive change. You notice that I'm saying those words a lot because it's really the foundation of what a JC is to create that impact and to make that positive change in community, in the country, and by extension, the world.
JCI Dominica was established in 1959 but was dormant for a few years. The group was revamped in 2016 and currently has a membership of 60.
Consultant with the Ministry of Family and Gender Affairs believes Dominica's children, the country's most valuable resource, is under threat. Anthony says one way of beginning to tackle this issue is for child protection practitioners to form closer partnerships.
Partnerships both in the area of juvenile crime prevention and partnership also in the area of child protection. Because for the probation officers who to go to court on a weekly level here in Roseau, they will tell you about the different cases which come before the court. We have young people going before the court charged with offenses like theft, possession of narcotics, and so on, armed with offensive weapons sometimes. And these are concern to us. Because I say so because when they commit such crimes and are exposed to violence and crime sometimes within their homes, this is going to tell on our children. And we need to stand vigilant in our quest to form partnerships. That collaboration, no agency can do it alone. We need agencies more and more coming together to deal with the issues pertaining to children. If welfare divisions say, well, I have all the answers, no way. If the police say, well, we can do it on our own, no way. We need to pull our resources together, particularly our scarce human resource, particularly the skills and knowledge we have within those agencies. We need to pull this together for the sake of our children.
Anthony says there must also be a focus on best practice.
More and more throughout the world, practitioners are called upon to enhance their skills and their knowledge for the purpose of best practice. And you may say, best practice in what areas? Best practice, I think, in case management. The number of cases we get, how do we manage the number of cases which come to our attention? I think that is very, very critical in the way we manage the cases that come to our attention. For example, when a child is abused within an agency, how do we, along the line, until the child gets treatment, how do we handle such cases? When a matter of a juvenile who has allegedly committed a crime come to the attention of the police, how are those matters handled along the way in terms of how do we manage those cases? Because you will agree with me, time is of essence in the matters we are called upon to deal, and the matter of case management is so important.
He believes practitioners must also seek to improve their interviewing skills and other critical areas.
Because the information we will need to process a particular case, it depended very much on how we interview the child and the do's and don'ts of interviewing a child. What about working with families? Best practices too, I think, in working with families, that is also critical. Because we have to be mindful of the autonomy of the family. But at the same time, the state has a role and responsibility to intervene. And more legislation is pointing to that. Even under the Children Care and Adoption Bill, there's a provision in law where the Director of Social Services, as proposed, can go into a home and take a child out of that home who is in need of care and protection.
You're watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evil.
Red cheese, gold rings, all black, everything creeping through the night.
Anywhere you are,
Big girls don't scream hard like Halloween, make me feel alive.
there's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evil.
When persons with TB sneeze or cough, healthy persons nearby breathe in the droplets and the bacteria can lodge in their lungs. People with weakened immune systems such as HIV/AIDS, alcohol and drug users, smokers, children, and the elderly are most susceptible. Persons with a cough should take precautions when in contact with persons in public places. Cover your mouth when sneezing and coughing. Visit your doctor or health center. You must complete your treatment. TB can be cured even with HIV. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB and HIV. Protect yourself and others.
Young entrepreneurs in Dominica can now benefit from a $35,000 investment from a Canada-based organization. We'll go back now to Andrea Louis for more.
This assistance to entrepreneurs comes in the form of a tool library launched by the Dominica Youth Business Trust, DYBT. The library was made possible through collaboration with the World University Service of Canada through the Propel project. Coordinator of the DYBT, Carrie-Ann Remy Timothy, says the tool library will reduce the burden on entrepreneurs to find certain pieces of equipment.
The tool library is basically set up to allow patrons to check out borrow tools, to check out manuals, to borrow equipment for either a small fee or free of charge according to DYBT's discretion. The objective of setting up the tool library is to allow access for difficult to source tools for entrepreneurs, to give entrepreneurs a chance to start up at a lower cost because they wouldn't have to acquire certain tools, they would get it from us. And in an effort to assist the wider community with readily available tools for money-generating projects.
The 40-foot container being used to house the tool library serves a dual purpose, as a rotational production area will occupy the other half of the facility. Remy Timothy says there is a need by entrepreneurs for this rotational production facility, which is expected to be launched before the end of the year.
We're currently in the process of trying to establish a rotational production area for our agro-processors, where we set up the other half of the container as a standardized, certified production site. So entrepreneurs who are doing agro-processing and producing right now in conditions that they feel are not suitable, they can come there, produce their stuff, bottle their stuff, and get it onto the supermarket shelves. We've done the planning. We're in the process of actually implementing and acquiring the equipment that we need and getting all the standards in place. We're hoping that before this year end that we would launch the rotational production area.
The DYBT coordinator believes both facilities will be well utilized by members of the DYBT.
We have quite a few agro-processors and agriculture-based entrepreneurs on our database, and we be having interaction with them and speaking to them. We see and we have gotten from them the need to access the tools. Even post-Hurricane Maria, on the part of the Propel project also, quite a few of them actually acquired tools. And we gave it to them, for their personal home, their own business. But then after we examined it, we realized that so many of them need tools and we cannot acquire tools for each of them. So if we have tools that they can rent, that everybody gets the opportunity to rent and to rotate tools for their purpose, their business purpose.
Owing to the fact that the Propel project is agriculture-based, a lot of agricultural and agro-processing equipment can be accessed at the library, such as chainsaws, brush cutters, tillers, grinders, and hydrators. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
The Minister for Family and Gender Affairs says having children in a cycle of poverty is a main contributor to family dysfunction. The minister is of the view that struggling single mothers fall into the trap of repeating their mistakes, ending up with additional children and exacerbating their situation. She insists that parenting methods used today are in fact shaping the society we live in tomorrow.
Whatever we attempt to do, it will only succeed through that unique combination of strengths we propound as Dominicans, and wisely try to exercise as loving parents the dual strengths of toughness and compassion, tough love. Because we were so protective as parents, making excuses for our children, then we are creating a generation of crime and violence, and we start to warn and we say the society. But who is the society? Not the mountains, not the trees, not the land. We are the people in the society.
Daniel says parents ought to protect their children and not allow themselves to be manipulated by abusers.
No one is above the law. No one is above the law. And if you perpetuate a crime against a child, a juvenile, you should face the consequences. And too often, parents and guardians, they take bribes, and the dignity of the child is washed away. For what? You have created in your child a lifetime scar for hush money or something. Your child or children are the most important resource of any country.
4 ministers of government in Guyana have tendered their resignations as members of parliament. They are Carl Greenidge, Joseph Hammond, Dominic Gaskin and Dr. Rupert Rumnarine, who held ministerial portfolios respectively for Foreign Affairs, State, Business and Tourism and the Public Service. These portfolios would now be held by sitting members of cabinet who previously acted for these ministers on leave or out of the jurisdiction. Following rulings by the High Court and the Guyana Court of Appeal, His Excellency President David Granger had sought Cabinet's advice on how to definitively address the status of members of Parliament who hold a dual citizenship. The courts have held that it is unconstitutional for persons swearing allegiance to a foreign state or power to be eligible for election to Parliament. The Cabinet has described the action by the ministers as politically correct and as a demonstration of their respect for the rule of law. They are not precluded, however, from remaining in government service, a matter to be addressed by the President, who will finalize ways in which the 4 resigned MPs will serve in government.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evo.
Red cheese, gold rings, all black, everything creeping through the night.
Anywhere you are,
Big girls don't scream hard like Halloween, make me feel alive.
there's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evo.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow. To end the news, a look again at the headlines. Regional expert says Dominica is falling behind in enacting child protection laws, while a consultant says the country's children are under threat. The Ministry of Agriculture sets a target of 12 million eggs annually as part of efforts to revive the poultry and livestock sectors. And a $35,000 tool library could be the answer for many local entrepreneurs. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You may access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.